Welcome to my film review of Men in Black International. So, it's been a while since we had the last Men in Black movie. This is the fourth one. We had Men in Black 1, 2 and 3, all involving Will Smith. And now we have a complete different character lineup, or cast lineup, shall we say. Same principles, it's Men in Black, it's aliens and an element of, shall we say, almost James Bondy type stuff going on, really. So if you've never seen the Men in Black movies, that's kind of what you've got to expect. Bit of aliens, outer space, you know, people coming to the planet Earth, and a secret organisation, a little bit like James Bond, 007, secret agents, that try and keep peace in the galaxy. And that's the gist of these movies. So if you haven't seen Men in Black 1, 2 and 3, is that because you don't like the theme of those movies? Because if you didn't like them, you're not going to like this one, I don't think. I'm a big fan of the Men in Black movies, really enjoyed them. It feels like a hell of a long time ago now that the first one came out. And I liked all three of them. Particularly, if I remember rightly, I particularly liked number 3 as well. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Possibly the best of the three of them, Men in Black 3. And then this one, I had high expectations because I thought, okay, I think it's been a while since the last one. They haven't called it Men in Black 4, they've called it Men in Black International, so it's starting a whole new chapter, is how I would look at it. Completely new characters. We didn't have any of the old characters in, slight references to them, which was nice, you know, but ultimately none of the old characters were in it. So I was expecting something quite spectacular, almost like with the Avenger movies and this utterly remarkable special effects that we have now in the cinema. I was kind of expecting something like that. I was expecting them to take this franchise to a whole new level, you know, spend a fortune, have an amazing story, spectacular special effects, and unfortunately you're disappointed pretty much on all those points. I saw the trailer at the movies, couldn't remember anything in particularly significant about it, so it was a while ago as well that I saw the trailer, so didn't feel there was any spoilers from that, and I felt like I was kind of always waiting for the story to get going. Now I've read the synopsis after the movie and it's only short, Men in Black is back, and then it says but now they have a particular challenge, and what a spoiler that is. What an absolutely horrendous, unnecessary spoiler. I don't remember from the trailer this particular element being mentioned, and for me, I like to go into a movie, hence why I created these reviews, without giving any spoilers away. I like to watch a movie not knowing anything. I like to be taken on the journey that the director intended. And having read the synopsis, that would have been a little bit of a spoiler. I wouldn't have wanted to know that, because I went into this movie thinking, oh, so what's going to happen? What direction are they going to go in? And the very beginning of the movie was actually fantastic. You see a scene with the little girl, and you kind of follow that little girl's journey, shall we say, as she grows up. And it was brilliant. I thought, oh, this is excellent. This is such a cool, unique take on the movie franchise. I thought this is really good, excellent, well done. But unfortunately that part fizzled out quite quickly, and then it went on to the next chapter of the story, and that's when the story started to come out, what the movie was going to be about, and it was fine, but it just wasn't brilliant, you know, which is a little bit disappointing. So I did, full disclosure, did feel a little bit tired, so I don't know whether, you know, you go into a movie not at your best, a bit tired, a little bit distracted, maybe that could have had something to do with my enjoyment, but really I just think it was a bit meh. It was okay. So I mean, to summarise, I would probably look to give this movie, possibly it'd still get a 7 out of 10. But I think the reason it's getting a 7 out of 10 and not probably like a 6.7 out of 10 is it because, you know, it's a movie about aliens. I like aliens. It's got some excellent cast characters in. I didn't realise it had Liam Neeson in. As soon as you see him, I was like, oh, Liam Neeson, cool. But I knew it had Chris Hemsworth in, and is it Tasha Thompson? The two of them were in Thor Ragnarok together, and I thought they worked really well. Clearly the director did too, and thought, right, let's bring them two together. It worked in Ragnarok in 2017, and made for a good combination in this movie as well. The two characters, they work well together. It's fine. But it's still. So I'm getting sorry. I lost track of what I was getting at there. The reason why it's getting the 7 is, like I say, familiar characters, familiar storyline, and it was just okay, really. And I feel a little bit disappointed in saying that. I would have liked this to have been a brilliant movie that I wanted to go back and watch again. And unfortunately, it was just average. It was average. So there you go. It's getting a 7 out of 10. Now, a few little niggles about this movie. I'm pretty sure it was trying to be funny all the way throughout, and at the very, very, very end, I physically laughed out loud for the first time in the movie. Again, could be because I'm tired, but there was a few people in the cinema, and there was only one couple that were regularly laughing. They obviously had for me, a pretty easy to please sense of humour is probably what I would say. So if they went to see Long Shot, which is like the funniest movie ever, they would have probably wet themselves laughing, because they laughed regularly. At all the bits you were supposed to laugh, they laughed. I mean, to me, I would say maybe they were simpletons, because that seemed like the scale of the jokes. It was just poor, kind of quite pathetic attempts at jokes, I'm afraid. The one bit that did give me a little bit of a giggle was, I'm sure there was a deliberate reference to Thor. Chris Hemsworth obviously played Thor, one of the Avengers, and at one point there's a scene that involves a hammer. I won't say any more, but see whether you pick up on that, as whether it was supposed to be a little bit of a wink to the Avengers. So I hung around at the end to see obviously who made this movie, and I don't think it was anyone to do with the Avengers. I forget the name of the guy, the director. So let's just quickly put it up. So the director was called F. Gary Gary. Now that rings a bell. I've definitely seen some of his movies before. I wouldn't have minded knowing what else he's done, but I don't think he did the Avengers. So I was a little bit surprised that he winked back to those. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, maybe I was just reading into it because I've been watching a lot of Avengers movies recently. But that was, probably a surprising point, because certainly Men in Black doesn't have any links, with the Avengers. It's not a crossed over universe that I could see coming together, but nevertheless that was in there, so just thought I'd mention it. Also at the end, in terms of hanging around, there wasn't anything. It has a hint of the Marvel ending that makes you think there might be another scene coming, but then it just gives the black cast list, the black screen with the cast scrolling up. So there was no additional scenes at the end. I didn't wait until the very, very, very end. So maybe there was a scene right at the end, but I don't think there was going to be. So popcorn muncher wise, not brilliant. I could hear people around me rustling their packets quite regularly, which was pretty annoying. And also when they're putting the feet up on the chairs and you can feel everything. So again, these elements could have spoilt my enjoyment of the movie slightly. But yeah, it's not great for the old popcorn. It's a bit, some elements are quite noisy, but on the whole, it had its quiet moments as well. But I mean, look, this was an okay movie. So in terms of going to the cinema, this is how I would summarize it. If you're going to go to the, if you don't get to the cinema very often, and it's maybe like a once a month thing, then you've got the likes of Spider-Man. That's probably, I haven't seen that yet. That's more or less just about to be released. I'd go and see Avengers Endgame again. I've said this on quite a few of my reviews. If the movie's been average, I would, and you don't get to the cinema that often, then go and see Avengers Endgame again, because it's just so much better. And if you're going to go to the cinema and see something on a big screen, you want it to be epic. So this was, for me, I'm a Cineworld member. I can go as many times as I want, so definitely worth going and seeing at the cinema for that. So if, like me, you've got the pass where you can go as often as you like, yeah, definitely go and see this at the cinema. definitely worth seeing on the big screen. If you're going to see it, definitely. But if you very rarely get to the cinema, then my recommendation is, say, see Avengers Endgame again. There's going to be another release that they're doing with original scenes at the end, including Stanley and stuff like that. So go and see that. Go and see Avengers Endgame again. But otherwise, you know, there's a lot of other blockbusters out at the moment that you could go and see instead. You've got Yesterday, Toy Story even. But, you know, for your adult audience like myself and older, it's definitely worth going to see. Don't rush out to see it at the weekend, date night kind of scenario where you're paying £10 a ticket. Go and see it, buy one, get one free. See it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, buy one, get one free. And then at least you won't feel like you've invested too much money into it and you won't come away feeling too aggrieved. Because it's worth seeing, but it's not, you know, you don't want to pay 20 quid for two people to go, because you'd be a bit, oh God, that wasn't that great for 20 quid. Go and see Avengers again. So yeah, worth a watch at the cinema, but only if you can go and see all the other top movies as well. If you have to pick one movie, this isn't the movie to go to the cinema to see. It'll still be enjoyable enough to watch at home. You know, it doesn't have those insane scenes like I was expecting that, like, you have to see at the cinema to get the most out of. You know, as long as you've got a reasonable sized TV at home, this movie works just as well at home, I think. So yeah, that sums it up really. A little bit disappointing, not terrible, but not brilliant either. So I think that pretty much sums up everything I needed to say. So let me know if you agree. Am I being harsh? Am I being too generous? What's your thoughts? How does it compare to your experience? So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and go and see Avengers Endgame again. That's my top tip. Thanks for listening. See you on the next review. Goodbye.